Hello.
Yeah, blah blah blah. Yeah, blah 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 blah. All right, hopefully that gets through. I've also been like fiddling around with my whatsamahoozies with my audio levels. I've been doing some funky nonsense to that stuff. Your grandma's in the hospital. Oh, that is oof. Ow. I did not think that was going to be what your last week was. I'ma be real. That was not how. That's not the levels that my like the past week has been for me personally. Also, why is my? Oh, I know why. It's a good thing you're here, Otto. I am actually Masonic. Sorry. Oh, I can actually update that thingamadiggy now. All right. Lip sync. Do not use. That way, I'm able to, you know, use this thingamadiggies. Hello there. Welcome, welcome. Who said hello there? Sir Dragon. Hi there, Sir Dragon. It sounds like you have a badger in your nose. Okay, so I'm going to give a confession. I do have a little bit of a cold still. That's kind of one of the reasons why I took a week off. Also, is it like a bad, like, sort of noise? This quote unquote badger in my nose sound, or does it like make me sound more? Because I don't notice a huge difference with what my voice sounds, you know, normally versus when I'm ill. Unless I'm like coughing and wheezing, I don't notice the difference being like hugely negative. So, or it could just be the case that, it sounds lower. That one I'm fine with. Having your voice sound lower is an okay thing to have. Also, do I just have like a overbite? Okay, why didn't that do its thing? That didn't do the sounds I wanted. Oh, hang on. This is going to be a very fun time where Crunk. No, where is the pull the lever? Like, I swear I fixed that, like, long-ass time ago. Oh, no, I didn't. Amazingly enough, I had not changed that for, like, ages. Alright, Twitch resources, copy all that, paste it here. Pull the lever, Crunk. There we go, that's working. Weirdly enough, that one didn't do its job. I'll refund you for that one if it'll let me refund you. Yep, it'll let me refund you. Excellent. And then I can say complete on the thingamadoogies. But yeah, I am technically using a different I'm using a different iteration of the VR chat, or sorry, the VC face model. And the first thing I'm noticing, using it actively and such, hi there, Avalon, is...
Hello!
I don't know why, but my mouth just looks like it's got like a little bit of a... like it's open for a little bit longer. I'm not, like... Actually, let me see what happens if I load in a different avatar, like my 44th. So, GrantZeebs 44. Nope, it's always... apparently, it's always had that gap. Unless... 43? Nope. Nope, it's always had that. Weird. Weird that my model is, like, always had, like, some weird-ass gap. Although I just realized that in loading into... No, okay, cool, we're good. How are you doing today? Permanent gap? I don't know. It just... Maybe that's probably what's wrong with me, like, going off for a week of not streaming it. It looks like your model is having a stroke. God damn it. Ah! The pursuit of perfection! My pursuit of perfection is just always going to be damaging me, isn't it, Masonic? But yeah, hello there, Uvalon. If we're gonna be, permanently slack-jawed. Yeah, it just looks like it, just a little bit. E. I wonder if that's, like... Goober, Grant, Avalon, Hughes. Okay, so that was a whoopee cushion. Hughes, any whoosies. Hi, hello, welcome to this just chatting stream where I have not been streaming for like the last week. And in that time, I recovered from a cold, did my work as per usual. I did like quite a lot of stuff like closer to the end of the week as well, where, sorry, I'm just like picking my fingernails because that's a regular habit with me. Sorry. So yeah, so I've done like the first few days of my break, like the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't do anything. I very much just went through my daily, my work or what have you from Monday to Wednesday, and I was just, taking it in strides and what have you. And was Monday no, Monday was a day off for me because work experiments with the 925. If this is distracting and such, like this weird, like, is it, hang on. Paul. I'm gonna run that for like 2 minutes. Just gonna run a quick poll. I'm really curious if there's like other people who are like noticing like maybe something iffy about my mouth or what have you, like whether it's actually, you know what it might be? Hang on. General settings. Did I remember to turn off that tracking layer? All right, so the ARKit thingy-majiggy isn't being used. The web thingy-majiggy, yeah, cool. All those things aren't being used right now. Okay. Okay, interesting. I'm noticing something. Hang on. I've noticed something in my model when it's being run via what's-mahoozy, via VC face, which I can't really show right now because of the way I did this model and what have you, as opposed to hang on.
RePP 253 thinks you should do 20 squats.
RePP. Is that what you RePP is your name? Ah. Sorry, I'm just like fiddling around. All right, select this. Yeah, there's a bit of it's not there when I'm using the actually, you know what? Maybe it's because of hang on. What's the shortcut? Not the props. Help. It is Shift R. Okay, hang on. You guys see a gap, right? Anyways, I'm gonna do the 20 squats real quick. Give me a sec. Ah! Why is the lips like this? Ugh. Like, I actually am noticing. Like, the only reason I can notice a difference is because I can see it when looking at VC face and then looking at Vignon. Gosh, maybe this is like one of the things that is going to be convincing me, hey, I should just make my own Unity or Unreal program to do the lip syncing and shit. 1, 2, I haven't done this in a while. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Thank you for the 20 squats, Ripper. You ripper. You ripper. Actually, that reminds me. Users. Ripper tooth. Maybe it didn't do it properly. Hi. So yeah, so all right, let me do a screenshot so I don't accidentally, reveal the wrong thing. Face forward. Alrighty, Alrighty, so this is what you see in VC face, where I'm saying nothing at all, and it's got this little gap, as you can see. Meanwhile, this is what I see in VC face. Do you see a difference? Because there is a difference. I'm wondering if any of you punters can see it. This is why I need to do more tests. Excuse me. I wonder if there's like... Settings, general. Is there a way for me to have the animate jawbone? Nope, still leaves the gap. This is a very interesting sort of like issue that I'm like this is uniquely Vignon, I feel, as well. Like, and I can't just, you know, throw you what my avatar looks like on this side here. Interesting. So even when it sees nothing, oh, it must be doing it because of the hang on. No. It's oh. It is forever. I know exactly what it's doing. Oh, this system just doesn't know how to do its thing. Why? Why does this system just like reload items? It's because of the mouth thingy-madiggies. Alrighty then. I close this. Twitch programs. Vignon. Alright, let's see how Vignon acts. Now that I've like... There we go! See? Look at the mouth. It's perfectly fine. The reason why is because if I was like because I was in the middle of like there's a setting in Vignon which sounds like a good idea until it's suddenly not, but you can do a lip sync input. So then that way like the jaw like adjusts and such like that based off of your whatever audio device you have put to the lip sync input, which sounds really cool, but it doesn't do it very well. It just like opens and closes the hands. It just opens and closes the whatsamahoozy thingy-madiggy, the jaw, and that's it. It doesn't really do it. It doesn't like do it justice. It's not like it's actually only doing the jaw thingy-madiggy based off of like, you know, certain shape keys. It's just doing it based off of audio level. So if my mouth isn't making any movements whatsoever according to the iPhone, but there's all this audio nonsense going off in the microphone, then the jaw will start flapping because of that. So, which was what was forcing, and I think they have it on the DD shape key technically, when they do a bit of the audio sync. So when I turned that off, the Vignon program decided not to clear any of the blend shapes that were being acted when I did the audio link turn off. It instead froze like DD to like a third of its setting. Okay, I can now delete these images. There we go. But yeah, I'm back. I am back without, you know, my silly slack jaw nonsense. Avalon, how do I look? Don't I look wonderful? I'm hoping I look wonderful. Ooh, eye gaze can be a little bit... Nope, that should be fine. All right, cool. So yeah, I'm back. I am back into streaming. I took a nice little week off. So I didn't really do much in the start of the week. I just, simply went to sleep, went to work, and did a little bit of just faffing about, just going onto YouTube or playing. Weirdly enough, Vampire Survivors, I was actually having a little bit of fun with. That was sort of like that was just my, idle, let my brain move down into thingy-madiggies. Also, am I too loud? Audio properties. Filters, because I've got a limiter on there for like -7, but it constantly goes into the thing. So maybe I need to make this down to like -12 instead. That way you guys don't get like, pierced in the ears because of me just being like, Peter pecked a peck of peppers. No, wait, hang on. Peter packed a peck of Peter Piper packed a peck of What's the phrase with all the P's? Peter packed... Here it is, the tongue twister. Peter picked a peck of pickled peppers. A peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked. If Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, where's the peck of pickled peppers Peter Piper picked? My goodness, everyone told Sam not to sing, but Sam sung anyway. That's a good one. I unfortunately saw that already. Actually, I think, was it you who... Someone did it in the Discord. I swear someone dropped a meme in my Discord. Yes, it was you, Sir Dragon. It was you that dropped the dad joke. That one, I'm going to give you a chuckle emote for that one. Because that one actually did make me chuckle just there. So yeah. Oh my goodness, nose. Damn, even after giving myself a week off to like not do streaming and to just relax and such, this nose, this throat still didn't want to fix itself. It's fucking ridiculous. I just been like sucking on lozenges or whatever the fuck they're called, and that did nothing. Or it's done something, but it's not done it to like I am 100% cured of the cold. I still have to deal with a common cold in this fucking like season. Also, I need to stop picking my fingernails. I need to actually communicate with all of you. How's it going, Sir Dragon? Sorry, not Otto. Masonic has, at least told me how their thingy-madiggy went. But, okay, now I can do the parentheses. Masonic. So I can do that one. So yeah, so Otto's already told me how the last week has gone, which didn't sound all that great because their grandmother is in the hospital. Masonic, I hope your grandmother does well. I hope they don't have any huge complications, or they don't get, an absolutely fucking terrible hospital bill or anything like that. Meanwhile, Avalon has just, called me a goober and then fucked off. So thanks, Avalon, for calling me a goddamn goober. Hi there, Luna. Thank you for the head pats. Welcome to the stream. I am back. I have done fuck all except trying to recover. Being sick for the past month, but slowly getting over it. Me too! I don't know if it's like to the same level of sick that you've been having, or if you're having a better time than I am with being sick, but oh my goodness, for the past month sounds terrible. Like, I'm fairly sure I was catching on with, getting down with the sickness at the start of July. So, like, that's not too great. And then I just spent like the entire week just, not streaming, recovering however best I can. And oh my god, there's a rain of arrows. Oh my goodness, what is going on? Damn. How is your evening going, Luna? Hopefully I'm looking at the camera and I'm not like just like looking off center. Once again. No, stop biting fingernails. Stop it. It's good. Hey, so long as it's something other than bad. So long as it's something other than bad, you're having a wonderful time. Or you're having a better time than most. Or I will find better words of encouragement. Like, rest assured, I will try and find, better phrases to give people when they give me response of, hey, my day is going all right. Or, hey, it's been a good week. It's actually It's actually the morning. Ah, is it like 3 in the morning or something? Like, hang on, don't tell me. It is. It is 4 in the after. It's 4 in the, oh, it's 1 o'clock. Damn it! I was gonna be real. It was gonna be 3 or 4 in the morning were my guesses. I did not have the thought that it was like basically midnight for you. So you're essentially, let's see, going back 10 hours, which is Greenwich Mean Time. That would put it back to 8 a.m. So you're 7 hours behind. 7 hours behind what's-a-whoosies, Greenwich Mean Time. Meanwhile, I have no clue where Sir Dragon is. Wait, is Sir Dragon in like the Philippines or something? No. Has Sir Dragon told me where they've been before? Hang on. I need to invoke my inner nerd and think about this for a second. Sir Dragon told me they're not Russia, they're not Japan. I don't think they're Hawaii. They could be Hawaii. I could be wrong, but I don't think they're Hawaii. I don't know. Oh, actually, no. 4 p.m. That would still be in Australia, but that would be on, like, you know, a different part of Australia. Because I'm, like, 10 minutes ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. You are 8 hours ahead of Greenwich Mean Time. So that would mean WA Perth. Ah, damn it. I was gonna be an idiot and say Darwin, and then I realized just as I said it just then that Darwin's only half an hour behind me. How in the world is Perth like 2 hours behind me, but Darwin, which is like in between like Brisbane and Perth, is like half an hour behind me? What's up with that? Or are they actually an hour? I feel like they're only half an hour behind me instead of a full hour. Who knows what I'm talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about half the time. I feel like some days I don't know what I'm doing. That is a legitimate, like, criticism of myself. Time, wibbly wobbly. Yep, sure. I will chalk it up to time being the ridiculous factor as to why things are as they are. Excuse me, nose. Curses. Why? Why? After trying for like a good week to not be ill, it decides to keep me being ill. Do I have to like... I've been like sucking on a lozenge and such. Maybe I need to go like even deeper. Maybe I need to get like a cough syrup or something like that and then just chug the bottle. Like that will restart me, right? That'll like just... How big is a bottle of cough syrup? Hang on a sec. Cough syrup. Let's see. Cough syrup. How big is a bottle? 200 milliliters. Okay, so like that's not even a can of Coke, because a can of Coke is like 300 milliliters or something like that. I could like scoff that down. Wow, no one is like... No one is raising concern about this, about the fact that I was thinking about scoffing down an entire bottle of Coke. What is up with people? Does no one wish to save me from myself? Does no one wish to somehow protect the poor himbo Zeebs? God damn you guys. You guys, gals, and non-binary pals. You just want me to... I can't protect you if I can't protect myself. that is the greatest, like, you know, like negative variant of not my circus, not my monkeys. Or is it not my monkeys, not my circus? I'm trying to remember, like, the turn of phrase. Honey is good for the throat. I did go through a lot of... Actually, speaking of honey, hang on a second. Oh, I still got a little bit left. Hang on a second. Hang on a second. Ah. All right. I was able to get, like a squeeze full of full of honey. I go for the squeeze honey. I know you can get like the tub honey where you just like scrape it with a knife, but I'm a bigger fan of the squeeze. Like just the I know you can get like more for like you can get more honey for less cost if you go for a tub, but I'm not interested in getting like a tub of my honey. I'm interested in getting like a squeezy bottle, like a ketchup bottle of like honey. If I could get like a ketchup bottle's worth of honey, then yeah, I would go for that bottle. But all they sell you is like how big is this one? 500 grams. They give you like half a liter of honey. All right, but I am going to go for a sip of water after having that honey, however. Squeeze is better. I'm glad that I have like a honey connoisseur with me in the chat. I really appreciate you being here, Sir Dragon. All right. You know what? I should have notes for this kind of thing. Let me see. Do I have notes? Let's see. Sources, desktop, ding, bam. Yes, I do. I have notes. Here are my notes. What was my time off like? It was nice. It was relaxing. Yep, I've said that a few times. I was a little bit ill. Yes, I have mentioned that a few times. You're gonna head out? Not to worry, Luna. I understand it's like 1 in the morning for you, and I hope you have a good sleep. Night, night. Sleep tight. Time to turn out lights. Sleeping to bed. But yeah, what were some other things? Oh yeah, I took the time to write a script and make a YouTube video. I have made a YouTube video. It was basically, you know, rather than just keeping it all to myself and waiting to talk about it in the next live stream, I decided to put my thoughts down on this question that had been like in my brain with some people's chatting, and something I kind of been asking myself as well as I was like approaching the end of like, you know, the month of like streaming nearly every day that I could, about like whether or not I still wanted to play video games and such, because that was like an honest thought I had when I went on break, guys, was figuring out whether it was, you know, it was just a break, just to get my brain relaxed, to stop thinking about video games, to recover from my cold, for me to, you know, get back into it on Saturday or Sunday and really like, you know, plow through. Hi there, Nova. Welcome to the stream. Hopefully you're doing all right. I just had Nova. You listening? You listening? This is a very important question. Are you a squeezy bottle for your honey? Or are you a jar person for your honey? Very important. But yeah, so jar? Oh my goodness, a jar? A jar? Oh my goodness. But the squeezy bottle's so good, you don't need to use like extra tools to get the honey out. You literally just grab the bottle and you just go, you just squeeze it out. You just go, you need to use a spoon so puppers can lick the spoon. What? No. Their preference is jar then. So yeah, where was I in my train of thought before Nova distracted me? Oh yeah, whether or not I was gonna get back from streaming after like a week-long break. Yeah, spoiler alert. That YouTube video, yes, I still like video games and such, because even though there was a moment of like questioning if I didn't have puppers, squeezy, excellent. If you didn't have puppies, just get a squeezy bottle. So yeah, so after going through Final Fantasy 16 and having this like existential crisis of, oh my gosh, I'm not enjoying this game, everyone else is enjoying this game, I'm having my issues with this and everyone doesn't see the issues. Am I just out of touch with the kids? Am I just too old to appreciate video games that are not just up my alley like 100%? Am I going to be forever stuck in, back in my day, the greatest RPG was Skyrim. They don't make games like Skyrim anymore. Whatever happened to Todd Howard? Todd Howard knew how to make Skyrim. He knew how to make RPGs. Like, I was worried I was going to be like that. if you clip me, you better have the full rant. I don't want to like just give props to Todd Howard out of context, okay? There needs to be an understanding that it was sarcastic that I was making of like thinking, yes, the old man would think Todd Howard was the greatest role-playing game developer there ever was. Sorry, just stupid nose. Stupid nose. So yeah, so spoiler alert, I made the YouTube video. I still like video games and such. And it was nice doing a YouTube video. It was only like 6 minutes long or something, and it probably took me like a day and a half to like try and put it together. Like it took me an entire day trying like probably more like a week, because it was in my brain since Wednesday. I typed it on Thursday, Friday, finishing touches on Saturday, and I did like an edit in like 2 hours. I spent so much time like trying to write it and such, even though I ad-libbed the script at the end, and then I just fucked around in Microsoft Clipchamp to make my YouTube video, and that is the quality that my YouTube videos will ever be. If I ever decide, hey, I want to make a quick 6 to 10 minute long video about my thoughts on this, it is just literally going to be Clipchamp, where I'm going to have my audio file, maybe going along with like my zebra, like in this, OBS scene and what have you. And when that happens, you will then just have like, some B-roll footage being played. Back in my day, Final Fantasy 13 was way better than the ones we have now. No one ever. Au contraire, I bet you, Rippa, I bet you there's going to be someone out there that is going to think Final Fantasy 13 was the best Final Fantasy. Somewhere out there in the interwebs, some man, some woman, some non-binary is going to be sitting there in their chair behind their Discord thingy-majiggy going, "That's the greatest Final Fantasy ever." I don't know why I go with they're speaking through the old man that I had earlier in my little bit. "That is the greatest Final Fantasy character of all time." Gun. Isn't even the best JRPG on a 360, a system known for having no... What? Hang on. So Xbox 360 JRPG. All right, so on the 360, we got Tales of Vesperia, Lost Odyssey, Blue Dragon, Final Fantasy 13, Residents of Fate, Eternal Santa, Infinite Undiscovery. Oh, top 10 best Xbox 360's RPGs. How well does Game Rant get this? Also, why do I have a video of fucking Ghosts of Tsushima? Ghost of Tsushima is not a JRPG on the Xbox 360. Residents of Fate at number 10, Eternal Santa at number 9, Final Fantasy 13 at number 8, Blue Dragon at 7, Final Fantasy 13-2, The Last Remnant. Honestly, I remember this game for some reason. Sonata. Oh, I'm sorry. Eternal Sonata. I remember advertisement for The Last Remnant for some reason. I don't remember anything but the name. Tales of Vesperia. Yep, I'm familiar with the Tales of series. I haven't played it myself, other than Tales of not Vesperia, of Asperia. I think it's Tales of Asperia, or what, the one that got turned into an anime. Infinite Undiscovery. Number 2 was Star Ocean. Number 1 is Lost Odyssey. What's Lost? Even after their generation has passed and new consoles are released with a plethora of new games to explore, some stand the test of time and become enrolled in the annals of history as great RPG experiences. Lost Odyssey is one such game, exclusive to the Xbox 360 and developed by Hironobu Sakushi's Mistwalker Studios, parentheses, the peeps behind Blue Dragon. It mixes modern and traditional gameplay to deliver a unique and serious story. Players follow characters who cannot die, exploring their backstory through episodic flashbacks, putting in display some of the best narrative in JRPG, both emotionally impactful and lasting. 4 game discs, Jesus. Back when game discs were a thing. Where to find every notorious mark. Huh. Excellent. Glad we put that to rest. And then, what's he looking at? Sorry, I'm just seeing like a dude looking at Baki here, and I'm just like, what's he looking at? And then he's... Anyway, back to my stream notes. Wondered what I wanted to play. That was an honest thought. What did I want to play? The 360 had a weird sub-channel thing where games would only take up like 6.8 gigabytes, so it was brutal. Oh, yeah, it was probably because the 360 might have had some weird DRM for some reason. The 360 had a ton of JRPGs, just not compared to the PS3. You know why that is? Ripper, you know why it is? And this is like very topical when the Sony executives are being so annoyed with the Activision Blizzard acquisition. Sony has done a lot of work making a lot of the Japanese studios being exclusive to PlayStation. That is not a coincidence. That is not because, oh, the Japanese, like, they recognize the name Sony, and as businessmen, they're going to go to Sony before they go to Microsoft every day of the week. It's like, no. That is not how game studios were functioning in the in the 2000s and onwards. Sony had worked very hard creating a relationship with many of the developers over in Japan and anyone that was making JRPGs, and they put a stranglehold on them. Sony was not going to let, Japanese developers throw their shit over to Microsoft. Anytime Microsoft had a chance of getting into the JRPGs, they had to claw for that nonsense, which is bullshit. And especially when you take into context now that Sony is like, oh, Microsoft can't purchase the American company Activision Blizzard. They might do some exclusivity deals. We cannot allow that. It might stifle the industry. Are you fucking real with me, Sony? Sony, the people that have done exclusivity deals for a whole ton of other people, whose very shtick in the console wars has been the fact that they have done huge amounts of purchases, like the Bungie purchase not that many years ago in the sense of business. Like, Sony, you can't benefit from this shit and then try to become like, this is not okay. It's like, sure, I get that the good fight is do not allow companies to start, collecting up developers and publishers and creating a monopoly, because we've seen way too many examples of monopolies not being a good thing, and they need to get broken up before they become problematic, like it was in the movie industry or the oil industry. But you are not who I want backing us. If it was like Devolver Digital or something like that publishing house hitting all these different indies, if they were the ones deciding to... Hang on a sec, there's something on my screen. If Devolver Digital was like fighting Microsoft, I reckon they would have probably the same number of like talking points as Sony would have, but they would be on a much better moral ground for making these arguments compared to Sony right now. Literally anyone else. Yeah, literally anyone else could be making the arguments Sony is making, and they wouldn't sound so hypocritical. So, yeah. Who knows what the FCC is going to say? Actually, hang on a sec. FCC Activision Blizzard. Activision Blizzard. What is happening there? The FCC, so yeah, that was in 2022. News. The FTC files to block, we've already... All right. Activision Blizzard. What is in the news for Activision? Deny selling Activision stocks hours before acquisition block. How much does Call of Duty really make? US choose to rule on... Ooh, hang on. Is this it? Microsoft has made its final courtroom pitch in its battle to acquire Activision Blizzard, whose gaming arsenal includes the multi-billion-dollar series Call of Duty and World of Warcraft. At stake is billions in potential gaming revenue through exclusive ownership of these games and the long-term shutting out of rival Sony owning PlayStation 5 access. Call of Duty itself has reportedly raked in 27 billion US dollars since its launch. The deal itself is worth 68.7 billion US. In the meantime, fearing a monopoly situation, has asked the federal district court to impose both a temporary restraining order and a preliminary injunction to prevent the deal closing ahead of its final decision. The deal's deadline itself is July 18th, and the FTC is concerned it will be finalized before a judgment. Ah, yes. That little tight date there. If we get to like July 18th or July 19th and the deal still has not gone through, they have to renegotiate with Activision Blizzard, which I don't think Microsoft is going to do because the stock of Activision Blizzard has continued going up. So its evaluation is now worth more than $68.9 billion US. And I don't think Microsoft is going to do that. I think Microsoft, if it came to that point where, oh, July 18th, they weren't able to get the deal done and all that kind of nonsense, I think Microsoft would have to like rethink their strategy and what have you, and maybe instead of trying to do acquisitions with developers and shit, they might need to somehow come up with just some other means of getting people onto their battle passes and shit. Even would have been taking the 30% is theft road again. Oh yeah, Epic could have done that as well. The fact that elected politicians can have stocks is a spicy concept to me still. It still is. And I think it's just one of those problems where the politicians are not going to argue for that to go away because the politicians benefit from that. Do you think Activision Blizzard stock going up is just people trying to buy up equity for the buyout, or you think interest in them is just up because of the news of this deal being so universal now? Here's the thing is if Microsoft did do this big ass purchase and shit, it means that they would have been like the reason why it costs so much is because they have to buy out the company itself. That's the point of the acquisition, is that they're absorbing it into the Microsoft IP. Microsoft stocks would most likely go up from the event, and Activision Blizzard either operates as a subsidy of Microsoft or stops getting off the stock market entirely. Similar to how like Elon Musk spends billions of dollars to get Twitter. Twitter stops becoming a public company that's traded in stock and now becomes private and such. I think this was meant to be the same sort of thing where Activision Blizzard, you buy up as majority of the shares, so then that way it's no longer a publicly, like it's no longer a like just a weird public Twitter thingy-majiggy. It's now like, privately owned within Microsoft. I think that was the purpose of why this deal cost so much money to do. And if that was going to happen, people would have, likely have they could have like sold their stock out after word of this because they would have been able to make their money because then, Microsoft probably wouldn't have been able to get as much money from them as opposed any whoosies. This game of EVE Online is getting out of hand. Yes. It's so weird just thinking like, cause hang on a second. Control Shift T, Control T, Activision Blizzard. Stock price. $82, 82 US dollars. Stock priced as ATI. How many shares are in Activision Blizzard? Does it tell me this? Market cap, $84.8 billion. Okay, so that's its like, full price thingy-majiggy. And that was in the last 5 days. In the last year, because like they made that like offer like back on the 18th. So that was back when it was $76 per stock, and this is where it is now, where it's like 82. Like that doesn't sound like a lot, like a 3. What the fuck happened in April? Let's see. February was Disney US earnings to call. Deal chances evaporates after UK blowout. Ooh, that hit hard. Wait, are you talking about here? Because that's what happened. Oh, or are you meaning like this segment here where it just went really high up? I think this was the lead up to the UK like acquisition, like whether the bit before it. I'm not 100% certain. Let's have a look. Whether its deal with will go through, given antitrust probes and the need for approval by multiple jurisdictions, including the US and Europe, as well as UK's Competition and Markets Authority. Due to the issue, provisional findings in the coming days for the reporting period, the developer behind Popular will report more than 20% growth in EPS and bookings after 3 quarters of year-on-year contractions, suggesting it may move past the pandemic-related slowdown. I'm not 100% certain why there would be this jump. Maybe because of the fact that there's just so much movement? Hard to say. Not 100% certain there. Faces at least $3 billion. Oh yeah, there's a $3 billion termination fee. That's if they do not get the deal done by July 18th. Is Microsoft will get hit with a $3 billion termination fee, and they have to renegotiate. Winning would see Microsoft and the Xbox become the preeminent head of its decade-long rival. Yeah, the problem with this statement here, if they did win of Microsoft and Xbox becoming the preeminent gaming platform ahead of decades-long rival, Xbox is not the rival to Sony. Not to the level that they want to say it is. Like, I don't know how often people do not realize this, but video game companies do not make as much money as as mobile game companies. Like, it's a very blank and, sort of understanding. Like, I understand the UK preventing monopoly on cloud gaming. That one was a bit of a shocker, but that one makes sense the more you think about, like, if the UK is looking to stop monopolies, like, intellectual property is not going to be the monopoly issue. The monopoly issue is going to be on the cloud gaming side. 85-15 split these days, isn't it? For mobile games, I'm not too sure. It's funny how if mobile games was an issue here, we might not even be talking about this. I think we'd still be talking about this whether or not mobile games was an issue or not. Like, the only difference is that, like, just this statement here, because, like, they're kind of they're in third place in a lot of console wars. Like, Microsoft has had a bit of a shit year or a bit of a shit timeline in terms of the Xbox One, like, console lifespan, like what they've been able to get with it. They have not had that big of a winning, like, streak compared to PlayStation on the PS5 or even Nintendo with the Switch that has now existed for twice as long as the PS5 and Xbox One X. Like, Xbox is not, like, a competitive second place. It is very, like, everyone thinks it's like, oh, you make the good games and people will come to the next console. It's like, Phil Spencer has gone into a podcast for Kind of Funny and has, sort of just said it blatant face where it's like, we looked at the numbers. That's not going to do it. We're not going to be able to get people onto Xbox just because we bring in good games. It is going to be a long-ass struggle of service and support in order to get people over onto Xbox, as opposed to, there isn't going to be like a winning game that will do it for them. Granted, it would be better if they were getting winning games, but they weren't in this case, compared to like what Sony and Nintendo were pushing out. Uh, that her son works for. Complicating matters is an administration by Judge Corley that her son works for Microsoft. It is common sense that a parent would want to support the financial success of their child's employer in order to support their child's financial stability and professional prestige. Oofies. Oofies. That is not something you want to see. Search. Jacqueline's overseeing has a son who works in Thank You Channel News. Ballotpedia. No. Nothing. So yeah, so we're not going to know for like another week, most likely, whether or not they're going to block it or allow it, quite frankly. That is going to be a question for another day. You hope Starfield is at least a 7 out of 10? I reckon it's going to at least be the 7 out of 10. Because, you know, it's not going to be impossible. But what's Redfall at, actually? They're not going to do as bad as Redfall, if I can... There we go. Redfall. What's the reviews? 5 out of... Oof. I don't think they'll be as bad as Redfall, where it's at 5 out of 10. But it is a little depressing when you look in the background of how Redfall was going. Because it was made by Arcane Studios, which is like, you know... Arcane Studios is great. And we learned... Because they're the ones that were part of the whole... What's-a-mahoozy? Not this, not this, not this... Dishonored and Prey. They were in... And Deathloop, technically. They were involved in what's the thing called? It's like realism. It's like realism based. What do they call it? It's like it's like sim based action or something like that. So it was one of those cases of like, oh, if you like throwing a can and, you know, environment and such was very important in the game and such. Like they immersive sims. Thank you, Ripper. Immersive sims. That was Arcane Studios like thing. That was what people were expecting from Arcane Studios. And then they went and gone, oh, hey, we're making making Redfall, which is this hoarder shooter with vampires and such. And people were kind of like, that's a bit weirdy, but we're going to give you benefit of the doubt because the studio that gave us, you know, Horizon Zero Dawn are from the studio that gave us Killzone, which were two different sort of genres. And the developers did a good job with Horizon Zero Dawn. So we're going to give you benefit of the doubt. Maybe this was something you've always wanted to do, and this is your chance to flex your skills and, you know, do something other than immersive sims. Problem is, however, not many of the people who did immersive sims and such like that from Arcane were working on Redfall. They had fucked off and gone somewhere else. The Arcane Studios that we got working on Redfall were not its, you know, not its hallmark developers or something like that from what we've learned. It was still Arcane Studios, but it was sort of like their B team. It was their team that were able to clean up and work with the peeps that made Dishonored and Prey. So we had this moment of just, oh, Redfall felt less like an immersive sim or immersive sim enthusiasts making this game, and more, not immersive sim enthusiasts, because that's the problem, is Redfall brings in immersive sim enthusiasts. This was not done by immersive sim veterans trying to do something else. This was immersive sim enthusiasts that wanted to do what Arcane Studios is known best for. Instead, they had to try and do something entirely different. And I know that sounds really weird of like, but they can make video games and they're not, you know, getting all the bad lessons. They don't have any of the bad habits from, you know, working in the industry for decades or something. Isn't this what you want? Fresh blood doing what they want? It's like, kind of. But when the fresh blood is interested in doing immersive sims, you're probably best letting them do immersive sims first, because that is an entirely different train of thought and study compared to the hoarder shooter that we got in Redfall, which had elements of Far Cry in there. Like, if Redfall was made by Ubisoft, I don't think any of us would have been like batting an eye on it being terrible and such. But because it's coming from Arcane Studios, the immersive sim studio, the one where most people cannot think of like a bad game in its recent memories until you go, oh, like really deeply. We'd expect that from Ubisoft. Yes. Just, we expect that from Ubisoft. But yeah, like, the studio was known, like, my goodness, like, Dishonored 2, like 2012, for a good 10 years, they were known as like the immersive sims thing. Ubisoft makes games like Anno 1800 and Peggle. Okay. I know it's fun to dunk on Ubisoft and shit. Ubisoft has like all kinds of weirdy nonsense, but just remember Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, For Honor, Dance, Prince of Persia, Rabbids, Rayman, Tom Clancy, Watch, like they're all there. These are not franchises that are like, maybe Tom Clancy, because Tom Clancy is kind of based off of the coattails of like, you know, the author Tom Clancy. But Watch Dogs, Rayman, Rabbids, Persia, For Honor, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed, those are all, you know, Ubisoft franchises made by Ubisoft and, you know, not perfected because they're still working on a lot of these things, but enhanced and altered wherever they can. God damn, their first logo in 1999 was cool. I do remember their logo from the 1990s, though. That was pretty cool. Attempt to take over by Vivendi. Yep, I remember this little chat. And then all their different studios, which I'm gonna be real, they probably have too many because they're the publisher. That's probably one of the issues. Oh, THQ Montreal. Didn't know about that. Ubisoft Connect, Anvil is their game engine used in the different series. Disrupt was a game engine for Watch Dogs. Parts of it were originally intended for another game of the Driver franchise. Dunia. My goodness, they have made a lot of different systems. Snowdrop, I remember Snowdrop. No, it's Anvil. Anvil I remember first, not Snowdrop. Oh my god. Yeah, and then there was this. 2020's sexual misconduct accusations and dismissals. My god, a lot of our old Vanguard video game developers and publishers did not really learn. Just don't do sexual misconduct. Don't sexually assault women. Do not break into, you know, break rooms and steal people's fucking breast milk. Stop being a dick. I don't care how much money you make. You're going to get arrested at some point. May 2020, Ubisoft sued Chinese developer eJoy, Apple, and Google over eJoy's Area F2 game, which Ubisoft contended was a carbon copy of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege. eJoy's Area F2. Oh, I am really curious about this one. We're going through a rabbit hole, chat. It claims that AF2 was taken down in order to carry out improvements in order to drive a better delivery to players. Lol. Is it shut down? Yeah, most likely is. 20th of May, 2020. When was this lawsuit? Yeah. Cool. All right. It's amazing how many problems can be solved by keeping your hands to yourself. Yes, that's true, and it's annoying how often problems are made when people try and follow that as well. But yeah. So that's what's in my brain currently. Those are my thoughts so far. God damn, we've jumped from like one thing to the next. My goodness. Also, hi Sky. Sorry I didn't say hi to you sooner. I'm glad to see you here. How is it going? What's happening? Excuse me. Okay, I can close that image. Move this over here. Close that. Watching anime. Nice. How do you do these three things at once? Like you're probably not able to. Are you able to hear me while there's anime going off, or are you like watching anime because there must be too many sounds going off on your thingy-madiggy, Sky. There must be too many things. What is going on in my head? Why am I incapable of thinking straight? Who knows? Only three things. That's still a lot of things to... Blah, 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 blah. That is still a lot of things to be listening to, like, audio-wise. Because the anime is going to have sound effects, music, and dialogue. Then there's me with dialogue. And then there's the video game with sound effects and music. Oh, and then there's also the fact that there's also music in my background. Hopefully you guys can actually hear that, and it's not just, you know, an illusion. Excuse me. Nose. Curses. Damn you. Why are you so annoying? But yeah, I need to have a look at what I want to play next, because I have not decided on what I want to play on Friday. Wednesday, we're going to be doing 3D Blender nonsense. And according to my previous notes, I need to either be working on a couch or my chatting room background. There's a number of things I need to be trying to do in Blender. Maybe I need a buddy while I'm doing Blender nonsense. Maybe I should ask Z, hey, do you want to stream at the same time I'm streaming Blender so I'm not alone? So I can have someone to communicate with while doing art and shit. This is my typing, is just, you know, one at a time, just slapping my fingers on the keyboard, just like bam, 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 ding, 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 ding. Hello there. My name is GrantZeebs. Ironically, you're learning Blender right now. Hey, good for you, Ripper. You Ripper. Yeah, I'm kind of learning Blender as I go along here and there as well. I'm not yet at a level with Blender where I feel like I can do, hi there, Savage, welcome to the stream. I've not yet done a thing of putting myself as, yes, I am the Blender nosy wellsies. I can go from sculpt to rigging and materials and create a fully fleshed out character. I can't do that yet. I am incapable of doing such things. Pictario stream of like 6 people all not knowing how to use Blender. Oh my gosh. Just start asking artist people and being like, hey, we should do like a Blender challenge where we do like a little thingy-majiggy where you have like an hour to make this thing with no texture or something like that. You want to try it or something, or rather. Your goal is literally just to turn a 2D sprite into a 3D object for a redeem. Ooh. Boy, do I have a collab for you. Yes. All right. I'll remember this for next time. I'll remember this for when I'm like, oh, hey, we need to make some props. I'll just be like, hey, we need to make some things, and we're gonna do this together, and we're gonna see how we go. I reckon it would be fun. I just need to find a mixture of peeps, because oh, it would need to be different levels. So it would be Wolk. At the very least, I'd need Wolk in the stream, because Wolk is a fucking wizard at Blender and ZBrush. So Wolk will be there to like flex on all the 3D challenges where it's like, here you have to make a metal pipe, and then he'll just, you know, do his metal pipe nonsense like it was no trouble, just be like bing bing bonk, bing bing bong, and then does the, you know, audio file pipe collapse thing, like, and it's just like, yep, cool, done. Meanwhile, me and Scribbly or something like that are just, you know, still trying to make a cylinder and be like, how do we bridge this loop? Handicap for Wolk, make him use Animator instead of Blender. I have never heard of Animator. Hang on a sec. Has he? Animator. Animator is a freeware OpenGL based 3D modeling software. Initially It hasn't been updated since 2017. I don't know. Oh my gosh. It got updated in 20. What do you mean, holy hell, it got updated in 2017? That's newer than you expected. Ah. Hang on a sec. I need to check in with Wolk. Does Wolk know what animator is? Excuse me, knows. This is what I used to learn how to 3D model like Game Maker in high school. I remember one of the earlier ways I've learned to model like 3D modeling isn't with Blender. That's not my first foray into 3D nonsense. My first foray into 3D nonsense has actually been Autodesk 3ds Max. That was my first foray into 3D modeling is with 3ds Max. Like 3ds Max. Yep, cool. It still exists. Started in 1996. A stable release in 2024.1, which was released 49 days ago. They're still at it, even though there are so many different... Autodesk has so many. They have AutoCAD, they have SketchUp. What's Maya? What is the difference between Maya versus 3ds Max? 3ds Max is perfect for the creation of interior design and for architectural visualizations. Maya offers the possibility to work on really complex 3D projects. Its toolset might be a little more complex to use. 3ds Max has more small tools and offers more human flexibility than Maya. Hi there, furry cures. Welcome to the stream. I have been at this for for the last hour. Don't worry, you haven't missed out on much. Nice. Nice. I just saw who they've just announced their guest of honor for Furdu, and it's Toxie Divine, who is a awesome like streamer, and artist. Nice. Another dingo. There's a lot of dingoes for some reason. Why is there so many dingo personas? Like, I feel like there's too many. Maya used to be better for animations and stuff, better IK and rigging and all that, but I think they converged a while back. Yeah. Why is Dingo and Roo the most common native? There is not that many kangaroos. There is not that many kangaroos and magpie personas in the furry landscape. I don't know where you're getting your information, but they're not there. Not emus either. You're not getting those. You're going to be getting dingoes, and that's about it. Kangaroos are popular in art, at least. Yeah, that's just... I don't know how popular you want them to be, though. They're just that. They're all that kind of thing. Also, why wake up shit, then later RE4 probs. Cosmic Wolf. Anywhoosies. Where was I in my train of thought? So yeah, saw that Oxy is like the guest of honor for Furdu, which is cool. Well, when my measure for success is like lyrebirds. What? Never heard of those. Oh, these guys. These make the noise, don't they?
He clears.
That's cool. Top 5 David Attenborough moments. That will be something to check out later on. I will leave that for later. And then there's the amazing bird that makes all the funny little noises. I like that. All right. The one lyrebird you know is, or lyrebird fur you know is from Finland. There's the dingoes aren't like limited to Australia either. Like Whiskey Dingo is like a Twitch streamer, and they're all the way in like LA or something like that. They're a fucking yonks away. Where am I? God, my brain is not doing it. Whiskey is kind of the infamous example in Innie. Yes, Whiskey Dingo is the infamous example of furries that have turned partner. Like, sure, they're like, you know, a big name, but that was just to, you know, give you an example of dingoes are not limited to Australian furs. There's an international appeal to the dingo. Where's your infamous example of the bin chicken? There are none. There are no bin chicken furries. No one wants to be a bin chicken. No one wants to be an ibis. No Australian likes the ibis. Queenslanders hate them. New Zealanders hate them. New South Walians hate them. Melburnians hate them. Every Australian hates the ibis, aka the bin chicken. You are never going to find an Australian that is going to unironically make a bin chicken fursona and commit to it. You are going to have a terrible time. Ah. Damn it. You're just a house cat. Yeah. And that's fine. That's perfectly okay. You just need to make a cassowary who's just really mean. Remember, okay, fun fact. Being mean is, it can be a personality type, but no one likes a personality type that's just mean. We don't like our angry girls just because we don't like our tsunderes just because they're mean to us. We like our tsunderes because under this hardened exterior, there's a softy in the middle. It's like a what's a thing that's like hard on the outside and soft on the inside? Not an M&M, because an M&M is just, you know, a layer of like something or rather, and then the chocolate on the inside, and the chocolate isn't soft. Like a no, not a jam-filled donut. Processing, thinking. Hard on the outside, hard on the outside, soft on the inside. A fruit nut-based typology. People as pomegranates, walnuts, prunes, and grapes. Oh wait, pomegranates are hard on the inside and outside. Walnuts are hard on the outside, soft on the inside. Oh. Like your walnut. Your tsunderes are like walnuts. Hard on the outside, soft on the inside. No, not coconuts. Too late, Gigadome. We're not using coconuts in our analogy. We are using walnuts in our analogy. Welcome to the stream, Gigadome. How's it going? I have not yet decided on a game. I am still... Like, this is a very short list of notes that I've made for today's stream. I probably should have put a lot more work into this rather than just eating pasta in the afternoon or thinking about going to sleep. God damn, I just want to go to sleep. Fuck. Why is my brain like this? Because what is it that I want to play? I don't want to go back to Final Fantasy 16. I might honestly just do Final Fantasy 16 on the background. Your capture card does S video? Nope. Nope. I don't know what capture card you've seen that has that. Who do you think I am? Do you think I'm like Blue Foxy Nicey Icy, where it's like, ah, yes, go suck a lemon as I go play my retro video game that is needing to be played on the original PlayStation from Japan and has to have these 34 disc sets. No, don't cry. I know that's a terrible impression of Blue, but he's not here. He's not lurking in the background listening to this. Blue does not pay attention to this shit. Yeah, he doesn't pay attention to this shit. I just checked the user list. He ain't here. None of my moderators are here. Puts my setup for capturing Sega Saturn away. Yeah, I'm not going to be playing Sega Saturn stuff. I hate to break it to you. You're going to have to deal with me playing something I can play on the PC, the PlayStation, and the Switch. I have a lot of options ahead of me, and I've got too many thoughts on what it can be. Gosh darn it. You want to play such classics as Clockwork? I have never heard of those. I have never heard of Clockwork. Here's the thing. When people throw titles at me, I'm not likely gonna know what those titles are. Clockwork. Oh my gosh, what is this? Ugh. It was a launch title. You still need to pick it up, but it hasn't aged well. Excellent. They haven't aged well. Saturn Bomberman. I'm not gonna play that Nintendo shit. What am I gonna play? Oh yeah. Baldur's Gate. Dragon Age Origins. The original Final Fantasies, like the 1 to 6 stuff. And what is another thing? Huh. Goddamn. Brain empty. I have no good idea. Oh, I also have all these things. I don't think I'm going to be doing Diablo stuff, though. I mentioned it in my video, but it was like, you know, not playing Activision Blizzard or Hogwarts Legacy shit on like a moral standing. Like, I know there are some people that are like, oh, it's not a problem playing Hogwarts shit just because JK is being like transphobe. It's like, no, that's still a problem. And if I have the opportunity to not buy into it and support her, then yeah, I'm most certainly going to do that. We're going to buy into Cthulhian shit because even though the author of the Cthulhian nonsense was like, you know, hugely racist and shit, most of his stuff he can't use because the artist is dead. We can't do anything with Starfield until September. We don't have a proper date for that until like maybe September. Would NetLeak even work nowadays? I reckon if people... Oh, you're talking about Bomberman shit. Who knows? Oh yeah, Yakuza. That's like something I can do. My goodness. Yep, brain's just... Yep, brain is just no longer able to do that. Cookie for Angrel! Welcome to the stream, Angrel. The energy in my stream is rapidly turning downwards. It is on a downward trend. We're not getting any better than this. I thought I had the juices to try and do a conversation for like longer than an hour, like just nonstop. It can't. We're not even at the hour and a half mark, and I'm very much thinking, I'm EP. I don't know what video game I want to play, despite the vast majority of choices I have available for me, but I don't want to play them now. I'm EP. This is where I am at right now.
Did you see it?
What did I see? I'm EP. But yeah, dead. Actually, hang on a second. Bing. Going to what helped and I like playing older games, deciding between singular releases or binging a franchise. All right, so Baldur's Gate is a potential. Can do it solo and in co-op. Would be a nice little primer before Baldur's Gate 3, which is which has a slightly different system. Another one is Dragon Age. I've seen Kofu playing this. They are currently playing Dragon Age Inquisition. I think Code is going through Dragon Age 2 at this point. I very much want to have been playing this. Ah, yes, everyone is seeing the bear. We get it. The druid as a bear can fuck the vampire, and they didn't show us the best bits because apparently it was too raunchy for Steam. So we just have to, like, interpret the whole damn nonsense. That's fair, Big Zeebs. I feel sleepy. Oh, you feel sleepy too, Angrel? They got banned off TikTok. Hilarious. Hilarious. God, you gotta love it when, you know, shit, like, everyone's just sort of like, oh, you'll get canceled for this kind of nonsense. And it's like, some of the shit is obvious, where it's like, oh yeah, if you're gonna show us a druid in bear form fucking a twink vampire, we don't care that the bear is sentient. It looks like zoophilia. You're gonna get banned for that shit. But then there's other times, such as Barbie movie getting banned in Vietnam because they had like this made up map of the world, and they've accidentally done a dotted line through the Southeast China Sea. And this, like, the reason for the dotted line being a problem is because that dotted line through the Southeast Asia seas is China trying to say, ah, yes, we control this area of the seas. And it's like, you can't control the ocean. Who are you, fucking Aquaman? Vietnam and a lot of the other Southeast Asians are very much against this proposed map. And Barbie has it on their made-up map. It doesn't look very much like the world, but it's one of those problems where if you see it, you can't stop looking at it. So Vietnam said, listen, Barbie, we like you, but get that plastic shit out of our face. Seeing the list of games banned around the world for random reasons is so enlightening. Lol. Australia claiming like 50% of Antarctica. Why does Australia have 50%? They're not allowed. What the fuck? The dotted line is a big problem. The dotted line is a big problem. It was, yeah, like Avalon said, it was like for one of the land grabs. But the map in Barbie isn't that accurate. Hang on. Barbie world map. Hang on. Thank you, Sunday Herald. Here it is. Here's the map. This is what got people in a tizzy. I want you to look at this map. Okay, hang on. Zoom in. I want you to look at this map. Like, I get it. It's this thing. This thing is being a dick. China should not get that. I see they deleted this map, like, this map isn't accurate, okay? And like, why is Africa all the way down here? Like, that should be where Australia is. They put Africa where Australia is. They're just looking for a reason to ban it. Look, China has banned movies for less. China has banned movies from going into their cinemas for less. I don't blame Vietnam for deciding to put their foot down on this nonsense, because if there was a real world map or something like that in a film and it decided to do that shit and they said, no, you know what you were doing, get that shit out of here. But meanwhile, like, hang on, is Avalon gonna fact check me? Woke should use, hang on a sec, I gotta, we're just staring at Barbie right now. I'm more upset with Africa being where Australia is. That is where the core of my upset is. If I'm to be annoyed about anything about this world map, it's because of where Africa is right now. So, yeah. Uh, it's the It's the Yakuza. Ban Barbie here for that Australian erasure. Fun fact. Australians don't exist. They're all paid actors. You ask any Australian, they're going to tell you that they are an award-winning actor. I mean, come on. Do you really think Chris Hemsworth, the actor for Thor, do you think he came from Australia? No, he didn't. Do you really think he has 3 other brothers, all of them in the film industry? No, it is totally unlikely. All right? All 3 of his brothers, acting careers, all of them in the big acting stage. One's in fucking what's Mahuzi? One's in Westworld. The other is in all the like the teenage like apocalypse thingies. Absolutely not. Makes no sense. Totally made up. No way they're Australians. Shh, you can't let people know that, Zeebs. I will object to that. Anyway, I've misspelled Yakuza. I need to fix that. How do I spell Yakuza properly? Where is my notes? Here it is. I don't know why I thought there was a H. It's the Yakuza. There's a lot of it. There is a lot of it. What's another thing I want to go into playing? Something old. Oh, Dying Light 2. I got started in this. I started playing. It stopped playing nice while I streamed. While I stream. Again, I cannot spell for shit. What is another game? Can I just show this? Oh, Hitman series. Hitman. I was bad at this. Time I played. I promise I'll get better. Paid actors not winning but nominated. I'm pretty sure Chris Hemsworth has won nominations. He's not just nominated, he's won some shit, hasn't he? Pretty sure. Alright, what the fuck is he doing? Oh, he's doing like plastic duck nonsense. Just hit him on the head just for a laugh. There we go.
Hello, GrantZeebs, Zeebs Tano.
I regret unmuting just to hear him mispronounce my name absolutely incorrectly. If you're wondering who the fuck I'm looking at, Kusaki Desu. This is the man we're dealing with. This is the man, the myth, the legend, the DJ. Very tempting to go and raid into them while I like delegate time into this list. Because it's like I have to think critically. How quickly can I go through Baldur's Gate? Because when does Baldur's Gate 3 come out? Control T. Baldur's Gate 3. Like, I know technically you can play it right now, but end of the month. End of August, you're saying? We learn working with her during the development makes our games better. How long will it be in early access? August 3rd on the PC. Okay, so I don't have that much time. I have 2 and a bit weeks. No, July? What do you mean? What? They pushed it? No. They pushed it back for the PlayStation. They kept it to the same for Panel from Hell release. Oh yeah, they've already explained all that. This is the panel where they told us about the sex. Wait, should I know these people? Oh my god, there's so much nonsense in this thing. Jesus Christ. This was not a good idea. Is there a single player? Absolutely. I love how they don't give us, like, the most recent, like, oh, this is the change of dates or what have you. It was in the news, I'm fairly sure, the release date stuff. Hi there, Dark King. I'm reviewing has release trailer. Oh, the release trailer has sex and all that kind of nonsense. Entirely new way to play. React to your choices. We can also break into the office. Let you customize your character's genitalia. Okay, so yeah, August 3rd for Steam, Good Old Games, and GeForce Now, and then yeah, it's like a month later for the PlayStation 5. So if I'm going to be playing this, I'm going to be playing it on the PC. And I have about 2 weeks or so to try and get this shit done. How long will it take for me to go through Baldur's
Okay,
Gate?
that's it. I'm gonna spit in your mouth.
Sure you will, Icy. Sure you fucking will. All right, Baldur's Gate. All right, Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. The main story will take 30 hours. That's 10 streams
What
at
if
least.
we held hands as a treat?
That's at least, oh my gosh, that's at least 10 streams. I don't have 30 hours. And then Baldur's Gate 2 is another 46. Shit. That is not nearly enough time. It's about 30 hours in, like, if you're a gamer that tries to see all aspects. Oh my god. If I rush it, I can maybe do it in 20 hours. If I take it at a leisurely pace, it will be 49. A majority of people were polled on this one where it took like 50 to 80 hours. Majority of them on the PC, 30 of them to do the main story. Play it on Journey, you can be done with it in like half a stream. Give me a second. Upgrade improved version of the Infinity Singing Madugi of Storm Coast never before, including a new adventure, 3 new party members. Give me a second. I'm going to double check this nonsense. Rift Apart comes out on the 27th. I need to get going on those two. Wait, what's Rift Apart? Oh, Ratchet and Clank. Yeah, I played it on the PlayStation 5 when it first came out. It was kind of fun. I think you'll enjoy it. Give me a moment. It's Baldur's Gate is not deciding to run for whatever reason. Give me a few. Hopefully this will make sense. No, it's not working. All right, hang on a second. Here's what I'll do. I'll uninstall Baldur's Gate, and I'll reinstall it after today's stream, so then that way it's available for me another time. I am a fucking genius. And I'll probably do that for Baldur's Gate 2 as well, just so then that way I don't have to worry about that another day. Alrighty then. Close those things. Dun 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 dun. So yeah, because Baldur's Gate 2.
Because I don't know what I just said.
Yep. Sounds like classic Icy. Classic Icy doesn't know what he is saying. Dun 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 dun. All right, so Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition difficulties. What difficulty does everyone play on? Core rules. That's a thing. Just installed the EE Enhanced Edition version, and I'm curious about the new difficulty modes. I know a lot of people also play with mods like SCS, but for those playing with the base game, which difficulty does everyone play on? Do you find the most fun? I ran out of poll options, so merge story mode and easy together. Core rules with a mod to remove scroll scribbling failure. I prefer to play at a difficulty that challenges without feeling like the odds are actively stacked against me. That said, I find the whole... You guys should probably see what I'm reading. Use the core rules with max HP rolls and no spell scribe failure, because those are boring. If I want to make the game harder, I will roll a worse character, taking a worse team, using lesser items. Restrict spell use, do the harder missions earlier. I find it more fun than upping the difficulty. In fact, even with cool, there comes a point where you know enough about mechanics that SCS hardcore is the only way to get any decent challenge. Don't fall into the legacy of ball trap. Honestly, why Beamdog didn't try incorporating SCS? Just dumb as hell. The enemies in Vanilla are so dumb all the time. Doing dumb things with more HP just makes winning take longer and become boring. Normal is perfect for me because I can play casually and not worry too much about optimization. I can have fun giving spells like Grease and Burning Hands to my wizard, or play an all melee party. Easy is way too easy once you understand the game and core rules. I feel the need to get... Okay, so I'm probably gonna go with normal or easy then. This is for boulders. Yes, this is for boulders. Now, there was someone that told me that this would be a terrible experience, but I have not listened to them. So... And if I can somehow get through all of the Baldur's Gate shit in like 2 weeks, I will be perfectly fine for when I go into Baldur's Gate 3. You know what? Fuck it, chat. This Friday, we're going into Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition. This Friday. That doesn't seem right. I haven't. I played it. All right. Avalon, in your critical opinion... do you think that Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition takes approximately 30 to 40 hours to play? Hang on a second, Avalon. Control F, Avalon. Bam, boom, bing. There we go. The full game not out to play yet. We can only play the first chapter and it takes a solid 10 or more. No. Not for Baldur's Gate 3. This is just for Baldur's Gate, like, thingy-madiggies. I'm going to try and get through this nonsense. Well, this, and technically this as well, in... Oh, you meant the Reddit post. This Reddit post. Yeah, I think I will play Baldur's Gate this Friday. We'll see how we go in Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, whether or not it's going to be, 30 hours seems low. I'm talking about the enhanced edition. And if we can go for different difficulties, I might purposely go for a lower difficulty just so then that way I don't have to deal with like, you know, just jank nonsense. Just speed run through. Actually, hang on a second. I'm going to look this up. Boulder's Gate speed run. All right, so the speed running record for Boulder's Gate is... So we have the original saga from 1998. So if we go with the enhanced edition, the record is 16 minutes and 6 seconds. Dragon Age Origins seems shorter by comparison. I do not remember Dragon Age Origins being a short game, I'm going to be real. I gone through Dragon Age Origins. It feels like a long time ago. But yeah, that is another option as well. Just going through the Dragon Age shit because Kofu and Code have been going through it and they look to be having fun and I want to have it fun. Look, I'm not going to do a speed running attempt in Baldur's Gate Enhanced Edition, okay? I'm not that good. I am himbo as fuck, okay? You're not going to see me do that. All right. Yeah, I think I know what my game is going to be. I think it's going to be Baldur's Gate. I reckon I'm going to have a very fun, fantastical time, and then I need to hang on a second. Where's I'm checking in with someone if they're gonna play it like I think they will. I'm hopeful that they will, but I think they started streaming, so I can't get a straight answer out of them just yet, which is a little bit unfortunate. Oh, wait, are they... Wait, where are they in my... There they are. There's their list. A glitch speedrun? Any % current patch. Hey, it's me, Immune. Cervic pulls are hard. Finally breaking the sub 20 barrier. I'm happy with the run. Execution could be better, but at least I don't have any big mistakes anymore. Pretty bad. Currently my best time in under 35 minutes. Frustrating, this run includes 2 main character deaths right at the final battle, but it still managed to be my fat... Wait, characters can die? Fuck, I didn't pick up on that. What even is any %? Any % is you get to the finals. You get to the credits. Morrowind era gaming. Oh, so this is like inventing your own spells and accidentally soft locking you out of quests is a common occurrence. Is that it? Soft locking is a common thing. I like that we stopped having games giving you soft locking as an easy thing to happen. I'm glad that's not as common of a thing as it used to be. But yeah, so yeah, Baldur's Gate, Dragon Age, Yakuza, Dying Light 2, Hitman, parentheses 1 through to 3, and then having a think. Oh yeah. Plague Tale Requiem. There's a lot of games I could actually be... Oh, and then, as always, Halo. Probably co-op. What's the hardest hardest Halo co-op Difficulty. Ah. Okay, so we could go with like legendary. Probably co-op. Very old RuneScape rules 3.5. I know those rules. Not to sound old or anything like that, but I remember getting into Dungeons and Dragons and playing with the 3.5 rules first, not the 5th edition rules. I remember that time. I remember the bullshit characters people made. All right. I think I know what I'm gonna do. Wednesday, Blender nonsense. I still don't know what kind of shit we're gonna be making in Blender. I don't exactly want to do a femur. That might be weird. We're probably gonna do a couch. I can go into Unity and make new objects. I just couldn't get my head around Thaco. Thaco? To hit armor class 0. What? Is an acronym to hit armor class 0. It refers to the roll required for a character to score a hit on a hypothetical opponent with an armor class of 0, which in turn is used to calculate other attack rolls. No, that's for D2. Oh! Oh no, Baldur's Gate is based off of 2nd edition, not 3.5. Avalon. Baldur's Gate is not, like, the video game Baldur's Gate 1 is not based off 3.5. It's based off Baldur's Gate 2. I remember this from a Josh Drive Hayes video. Like, Josh did like a video. Hang on a second. Like, Josh Strife Hayes. He's done a video. Not this one. Wait, has he done a Baldur's Gate 2? Because let's see, Baldur's Gate 1 is a... Yes, I did watch his Baldur's Gates video, actually. Oh, it's not there. All right. Well, there's his Baldur's Gate one. So I'm pretty sure he explained that it's using 3.5 or 2. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 2nd edition, which is like really annoying bullshit rules. Anywhoosies, I now know what I'm going to be playing Friday. It's going to be Baldur's Gate. So I'm going to update my stream schedule for it. I'm going to make sure it works on my PC. Wednesday night, which is not tomorrow, but the night after, is going to be it was awful DMing. Glad I never had to DM that thing. Wednesday night is going to be Blender night, and I can probably make it a Blender night where I'm trying to make objects to be thrown at me in Vignon, so then that way I can like provide that to people like Dazarus or maybe even Wolk if they want to. So if you got any ideas for what you want to see the zebra get hit with and the sounds that might want to go along with it, let me know in my Discord. So we got that. Let's swap over to this screen and let's have a look at who we can go and raid. So we got Kusaki, who looks to be doing a game of Teardown. We got Scribbly Noodle that is doing some kart racing. Let's see. Has Wolk started streaming? No, they haven't. Zevin is still doing their thing, and then there's Cosmic Wolf. Yeah, I think we're gonna go for Kusaki, and I have a raid message we're gonna use. It is a dumb raid message, but it's related to a discussion that we had earlier. Kusaki Desu. Where's the... Actually, no. We're going to make it associated with their game Teardown, which is, where is your OSHA officer? OSHA means occupational safety health. What does OSHA mean? Occupational Safety and Health Administration. There we go. So hopefully Australians know what an OSHA officer is and such. Otherwise, that joke is going to go right over their head. So yeah, this is a much shorter than normal stream because I don't do these kinds of things well. I don't do chatting streams very well. I am terrible at this. I don't know how people have the energy to continue talking and, socializing gives them the more energy to talk even more and such. I don't have that. I will go on tangents and such, and those are like weird pangs of energy sort of tangents. Those are not a committed thing. So, yeah. I will be back online Wednesday. It will be a properly planned stream because it will be dealing with art. Otherwise, thank you everyone who came along to tonight's stream. I hope I kept you entertained, and we're now going to go to Kusaki. Bye for now.